Thank you. Good morning, Chairwoman Velasquez, Congresswoman Fallon, and other members of the subcommittee who I know to be there even though I can't see them. I'm Policy Counsel at the Center for Responsible Lending, a nonprofit, nonpartisan research and policy organization dedicated to protecting home ownership and family wealth. We're affiliated with a lender, Self-Help, which makes responsible, fixed-rate home mortgage loans to people with blemished and non-traditional credit. As others on the committee and panel have noted, we do not consider inadequate disclosure to be the only or even the leading culprit in today's foreclosure crisis. Rather, the crisis was caused by lenders and brokers selling risky and unsustainable loans, primarily in response to demand by the secondary market. Improved disclosures will not necessarily provide adequate protection to consumers making one of the most important and complicated financial decisions they will ever make. It will take substantive laws to prevent discriminatory and predatory practices, realign incentives, and restore health to the mortgage market. That said, even within the context of RESPA, we see an opportunity to prevent some of the abuses that have led to the current crisis. In our view, yield spread premiums have played a key role in causing the problems we see today. Under this practice, as it works in the subprime market, lenders pay brokers a premium for steering people into higher rate loans than those for which they qualify, and then often they pay those brokers an additional bonus for locking borrowers into those higher rates with prepayment penalties. RESPA has long prohibited compensation for services that simply deliver a loan with a higher interest rate, referring to such compensation as a kickback. Although it may seem that all yield spread premiums might constitute kickbacks, HUD has opined that since consumers can use yield spread premiums to buy down upfront loan origination costs, they're delivering value and are not prohibited. That is how the practice often works in the prime market. Yet in the subprime market, this trade-off rarely, if ever, occurs. The lion's share of subprime loans carry significant upfront fees, closing costs, discount points, prepayment penalties, along with the yield spread premium. Consumers end up compensating the broker at both the front and back end, essentially buying the rate down and then buying it right back up. We would like to see HUD use its long-standing definition of a kickback to prohibit those yield spread premiums that are made in conjunction with upfront broker compensation or other rate-lowering payments. We believe this would help to reform the subprime market without impacting the prime market adversely. In the changes to RESPA before us today, in the disclosure related to the yield spread premiums, while we are glad to see HUD acknowledge the importance of the issue, we think that the proposed disclosure has as its core assumption the existence of this price trade-off that we do not believe exists. Moreover, the new GFE characterizes this as a credit when, in fact, this results in an increase in costs. So in any reworking of this GFE, we would like to see that more clear and accurately disclosed. We understand that brokers are concerned that they are not being treated even-handedly, and I have great sympathy for Mr. Savitt's position on that. However, CRL's recent research shows a vast disparity between the cost of subprime loans originated by independent brokers versus retail lenders. That we see that the cost over the life of the loan can be as much as $43,000 for every $100,000 borrowed, and even in a shorter time period, such as 5 years, 4 years, it's close to $5,000. In our written testimony, we talk about some other aspects of today's RESPA reforms. But just to mention a few, we do believe any change to the GFE must ensure that the GFE includes the APR, which enables consumers to make an apples-to-apples comparison. And because most consumers shop mainly on total monthly payment rather than on comparing settlement costs, the GFE should include that number again. Finally, we strongly support HUD's request that Congress enhance RESPA civil penalties and equitable relief. We further request that Congress add a private right of action for all elements of RESPA, particularly the GFE and HUD 1. In our work, we've often seen GFEs misused to lure people into abusive loans, and the lack of a private right of action means that such misuse often carries no consequences. If it's not enforceable, even the most perfectly designed disclosure form will not assist consumers. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify, and I look forward to your questions.